Hello, I'm Yossi Abraham, and welcome to Zappix CX Tech Talks. This is a conversation about the intersection of AI and technology and customer experience. I'm very happy to have with me Sara. Sara is the CEO of MTLC, the Massachusetts Technology Leadership Council. This organization, over the last 40 plus years, it's a nonprofit organization that over the last 40 years is helping technology leaders, teams, companies in Massachusetts, and spanning from startup companies to very established companies. So welcome, Sara.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So just to start off with, can you share a bit about your experience and then a bit more about MTLC?
Sure. Me personally, I started out as an aspiring policy person and spent most of my career actually in trade associations. So, yeah, we're a nonprofit organization. We are technically a trade association. And I spent some time working for the Massachusetts State Legislature and some other organizations that were specifically for Massachusetts companies, one with engineering and construction, another one in technology, but focused more on digital. And then, the past 15 years here at MTLC, a couple of different small stints in private sector as well. So generally, this has been my career creating and fostering ecosystems and helping companies thrive in the areas that they hope to scale in. MTLC, as you mentioned, has been around for 41 years, and our mission has actually remained pretty much the same, which is to help technology companies, technology leaders, their teams thrive. We've done a variety of things over those decades to ensure that. Right now, we're very much focused on connections, networking, being that platform that people can trust and come to. We're, a neutral third party. And so we're really just focused on helping them. And majority of the ways we bring people together to do that is through events. And we have about 70 or 80 events a year, a variety of programming opportunities from small curated C-level peer groups through larger professional development, very practitioner focused events, and then larger scale community events, just really bringing people together.
And as a member of MTLC, I highly recommend everybody to look at it and join it. I think that some of the events are very, very fruitful and worth joining, and both the peer events and some of the larger ones. And both myself, I have attended multiple events so far, and my team
Yes,
has attended several of those too. So everybody is very, has very high regards to those events. So great job on that.
thank
So
you.
for our conversation about AI, I always like to start and ask if you had to explain AI to your mother or grandmother, how would you do that?
Yes, so that is such a hard question, by the way. It should be, you would think it would be much easier, but I think the way I would look at it is to say, imagine having everything that you might read in, like a, any book or any map or any kind of history all at your fingertips to be able to create something or to research something. In simplistic terms, it's help me be a thought partner. I don't always love that term thought partner, but help me brainstorm, help me start. Um, and that's just the simplest to help me create something new, work with me, be a team member. And I think that's the sort of the simplest ways that I would try to explain it. I don't know if they would understand it, but that's how I would explain it.
Yeah, and everybody, when I'm asking this question, everybody is like taking it to different directions. You took it more on the knowledge side and the thought partner and so on. I've seen others that are looking at it as it's a robot that can do things that humans can do. Like it can see, it can talk, it cannot smell yet. Maybe we'll get to that also in the future. But so it depends on where you're coming from. But that's I I I I I agree with a lot of things that you said there about the knowledge. I think the knowledge partner, that's the right, a very good definition of that. So, and the way how do you use AI today and more on a personal experience before we speak about how you use it for MTLC, and how has it grown over the last 2 years since it's really exploded?
Yeah, so I remember going on vacation, gosh, over 2 years ago now. Um, and so ChatGPT was still sort of in its infancy for at least us regular folk. And I planned my itinerary using it. It was a family vacation, and we were going to London and Paris. And we had never done anything like that with my kids. And at the time, I guess my kids must have been 17 and 15.
Okay.
And again, with this knowledge, right? I just typed in family of four taking a trip abroad. We have not taken this kind of trip before. And my kids are teenagers and they like very different things. And we need to do a combination of all of these things. Help me plan out an itinerary. And I'd put some more prompting in there.
Yeah.
And we followed it to a T. It was amazing. That's my earliest sort of recollection of really using it as, again, like conversationally, where it wasn't just a search. It was more of an active, participatory, um, fact-finding mission, I guess. Um, and for me, I don't personally use it that much differently. Um, and I don't even think, for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, I I use it that deeply. I think it's just more when I search for something that I need quickly, it's more conversational.
Yeah.
It's not, just put in the right words, be very exact, and then click around. It's much easier to find what I need and then to keep prompting it. Um, so that's personally. Professionally, I think I started, like a lot of people, it's like, help me with my email,
Yes.
edit this. For me personally, like the way I work is I am better off writing what I need to write and then using the robot to help me fine tune it, to help me get it to the right audience. I can't use it as a blank page. That does not work for how my mind works. But I have found that I maybe don't spend as much time on my first draft as I would, a year ago. I use it a lot to create sales um, pieces and generate PowerPoints for things. Um, we've used it more recently. We are launching a program called the Founder Lab, and we designed the website in it lives off the MTLC site, but we weren't sure if we were going to do it that way. So we designed the whole thing in Claude. It took very little time. That said, it's a page, right?
Yeah.
I think I would use it to do a full scale website, but it helped. I've used Replit before. Um, I built something that was very beautiful, but I then was like, I don't really know what to do with this. And I've ran out of tokens and, it was more just to play with it. Um, but there's some amazing tools. Now, where I do still have a lot of trouble is that I think it doesn't matter what tool you use. I think the writing and the design and everything has become a bit homogeneous. Um, and kind of bland. to be honest. And so, there's again, I think that might be why I try to
Start.
come at least a first draft first.
Yes. Yeah. I think most of us are starting from, oh, help me draft this email and then edit document and then come up. I think Claude in PowerPoint is doing an amazing job now. At least I've seen a lot of advancement in Claude in the last 3, 4 months there.
Yeah, and it does help a little bit too. So, if I'm creating a board packet, I'll ask how might a board member, a particular persona view what what questions can I anticipate?
Yes.
Things like that.
Yes, that's really useful. And when you're trying to implement AI as a CEO of MTLC, when you're trying to implement AI in the organization, what are the challenges that you're having to really bring it into all the programming and and also the implementation of it for other users in the organization to use it?
It's funny. I mean, we're on a much smaller scale, but I think it's the same that a lot of other companies are dealing with. It's, everybody has Copilot. And then I also use Claude, and then we have somebody that also uses Perplexity. And I think what we've decided is trying all three of them. And I used ChatGPT for about a year before that.
Right.
So because we're trying to understand um, what's what works best for us, and then how can we all end on the same, because we're very small, and so we don't have the money to be able to buy multiple licenses. We do get Copilot as part of our Microsoft package. So what we've landed just this week is we're going to do a team license for Claude. That's where we've landed. But I do think the person that has Perplexity might still want to keep their own Perplexity and use it. And so there's that. We don't have a lot of governance around it. You know, I think it's fine. We don't have huge trade secrets. But anything that's financial or anything board related would stay in our, paid license. The um, the challenges of how we use it operationally are just trying to figure out the use cases.
Yeah.
What can we trust? What's easier? Sometimes just it isn't as easy putting something into AI as it is just doing the work. So, and I do think you have to do the work, so and we're all guilty of this, but you know, when somebody is putting something in to just, something like a report that we need to know and understand, and they synthesize it in, Copilot or Claude or whatever, and they hand it to me, and I look at it, I'm like, this isn't what I would get out
Yeah.
of reading this report. And so I think that there's things that we're still trying to figure out where to use it the best we can. But we have HubSpot, and we use, they have a lot of AI built into it, and we certainly like that. Um, and we use it, uh, we might move some of our, we use it a little bit in some of our operational sort of accounting tools, and we might incorporate more of that into our accounting dashboards to make it much more automated. So we're still in process.
And you're a member organization. You're all a lot about humans, about people, about
Yeah,
connecting people,
for relationship.
relationship. And how do you see, balancing AI in the future? And it's more of a general question, probably. How do you balance AI with the human element, with the human factor?
I think it's going to augment, right? It's what it does now, and I think that's going to just continue to evolve. But I don't know, as a member and as somebody that does attend events, I'm sure you've noticed our events are very, very well attended.
Yeah.
And I do think it's because our events are wonderful, but I also go to other events and they're also well attended. Humans are craving humans. And the more you give them technology, the more they're going to crave humans. Um, and so I think that's always going to be central to everything. And even an example, which isn't an AI example, but it's just during COVID, everybody was using machines to talk to one another.
Yes.
And you see less and less of that, right? You see people want to actually have a meeting. They want to have a coffee. They want to have a personal interaction. So I think for what we do, it's really actually helped us because the pendulum has swung the other way. I do get nervous. I get nervous for kids. Um, but again, I'm not even sure that's AI. That's just technology.
Yes.
AI might amplify it, but I also think AI is going to give us amazing ways to educate. They'll really be able to personalize and make experiences, that much more amplified. So, there are things I worry about, but I think that ultimately it's gonna provide more opportunity than less. And I do think, again, people just crave people.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it correctly, and I always look at it from COVID times when we all moved to work from home, and then the back to the office was limited. A lot of companies are doing hybrid, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and people are really craving the human touch and that personal relationship. And and I see it also. One of the reasons I wanted to join the MTLC is because you want that. You want that personal touch. You want to speak with other people. You want to understand what other people are doing, how they're experiencing this rapid evolution of AI. And so I really concur with you about the people want people, and I hope that will continue even with a younger generation.
You do.
Yes. So one question before last is, how do you envision, you're talking with a lot of companies, with a lot of technology companies. How do you envision AI evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? And I think it's a very open-ended question, but what's your view about that?
Yeah, so if I look at it from the company perspective, and I am in a unique position where I can sit in all these like small peer groups where, from CFOs, CTOs, CEOs, and then, different size and maturations. And I think what companies are really trying to understand, and I think this is where AI will come in and evolve, and it's sort of the application of, so on a workforce basis, there's got to be a lot of structural changes to
Yes.
organizations. And I think that's where you're going to see the most evolution on the workforce. Um, you see the headlines about, well, we can, you know, we can lay off or riff or move, not hire, or whatever it is, all of these people because we have AI, but they haven't figured out that other side of AI that's gonna that's going to really require more people. So Steve Wozniak said it many years ago, but I know it's something that he talks about a lot, which is for every big tech revolution, more people have been needed, never less. But there's always a pain,
Yeah.
right? So industrial revolution, there was a pain point for a couple of years until we figured it out. And
Yeah.
with the internet and everything else. And AI is, I get that it's faster and it might be a little bit more pervasive, but still, you are going to see so much more created because of it. So I think we're in this midst of this evolution period. Um, so that's the one thing, that's the workforce. And then I do think, it's hard to know, right? There's a lot of brilliant people that are like, I'm leaving whatever I'm doing right now because now's the time to start. And I use the phone, the smartphone, right? There was, I don't know, 15 years ago, there's no Airbnb,
Yeah.
there's no Uber, there's no DoorDash. And so
There was no iPhone 18 years ago.
There's no iPhone, right? And so there's, you go from that, right? So there was a phone, and then there was your BlackBerry, right? And then there's the iPhone, and just even over the years, what the iPhone can do, and all of the companies that now exist, and they're all apps and platforms, and that's what we're going to start to see. And you're going to see it in, consumer, but you're going to see it in healthcare. You're going to see it in education. You're going to see it's going to save lives. It's going to change lives, and it's going to be as easy as, or as sort of mundane as how I go shopping. Um, so I see that there's a lot of space we haven't even begun to think about yet, and it's just early days.
It is, and we're in the eye of the storm now, I think, and really, and it will impact so many industries, so many workforce implications for that. It can be amazing. It can be destructive. We don't know yet, I think.
It can be democratizing. So
Yeah.
I have a CEO, a public company CEO said this, and you know, it's been a huge driver for me, in terms of me being optimistic, is it's really democratized. So if AI can be accessible to anybody with a cell phone, and you look in places like within Africa,
Yes.
where maybe they don't have running water, but they have cell phones,
Yes.
and they create something that will help their village, that will help themselves, that will change, industry for their region. So there's a lot of amazing things that can come.
Yes. Absolutely. So last question is, when you're looking at how MTLC incorporates AI in the different topics and so on, and what you know about Zappix, how do you see Zappix fit into all of that?
Um, and I think it goes back to the same theme of what we've been talking about. At the end, it's your people, it's your customers, it's your relationships. And Zappix, that is what you do for companies. You help them connect better with their customers.
Yes.
And ultimately that's going to be what everybody's looking for. How do we better connect with our stakeholders? So I think that's right. I think that's, what we all need.
Perfect. I want to thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you for having me, Yossi.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.